author of Vicki's Vegan Kitchen. And I was told to make a recipe for you of old-fashioned veggie burgers. So I'm going to make my hippie burgers. And I call them hippie burgers because they use tofu and hemp seeds and nutritional yeast, all nice kind of crunchy foods. And so we're going to start, we want to get an organic, it's very important to always have organic with soy because you never know if it's GMO, if it's not organic, but get some organic, extra firm tofu. And even though it's extra firm, we can make it a little firmer just by squeezing it like this. And you can just squeeze it over the sink, but I'm doing it over a bowl so I don't have to move around too much. When it starts to fall apart, take it and put it in a bowl and let it fall apart. Just use your hands for this. If you are squeamish about using your hands, use a potato masher and just smash it. But this is a recipe where you have to sort of dig in and use your hands. So we got the tofu all mashed up here. We're going to add some sun-dried tomatoes. And I took sun-dried tomatoes and I just ground them up in the blender. Took a ½ cup sun-dried tomatoes and ground them in the blender. You just put them in the blender, turn it on, and they'll turn into something like that. And so we're going to add that. And about a ½ cup unground, and it grinds down to maybe a third cup or so. You know, in these recipes, a little more, a little less, doesn't matter. Maybe just add the whole thing since we have it. I know it was more than the recipe calls for. We're going to add a ¼ cup very finely minced onion, and because it's I don't want to saute it, just too much work, so chop it up really finely so it gets cooked when you cook the burgers. Here's our hemp seeds, and no, you can't plant them, and no, they won't make you high, but they're a great source of protein, and they make the burgers a little more firm and meaty tasting. Now we're going to take some whole wheat breadcrumbs. Now if you're gluten intolerant, like a lot of people are, you can use a non-gluten bread, non-wheat or gluten bread. But I make my own bread and it's from freshly ground flour. And I feel like a lot of people can eat wheat when it's made with freshly ground flour. So this is bread, my bread that I sliced and toasted. So it's a little dry. You could use a stale bread too. And we're going to add these breadcrumbs, 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs, and a ½ cup nutritional yeast. Now the spices are important in this recipe, and I'm going to add some sage. I always think sage makes things, you know, I haven't had meat in 30-some years, but no, 41 years I haven't had meat. No, 39 years. Anyhow, in my mind, sage makes things taste like meat. So we're going to add some sage and some white pepper. About a ½ teaspoon white pepper. I just like white pepper. I use it in a lot of my recipes. You can use cayenne or a black pepper, you know, whatever you want. About a tablespoon of tamari. Since these are softy sun-dried tomatoes, it was the only one I could find at the store. And now we're going to get our hands in it. So after you knead it together and it sticks together really well, you're going to shape it into little burgers. They can be as big or small as you want. Of course, the bigger they get, the harder they are to stick together, but this does hold together pretty well, so you can make them, you know, a pretty good size if you want. We've got 6 burgers, and we're going to take them over to the stove, and we're going to heat some olive oil, and we're going to just brown them on either side. Brown them sort of slowly on a heat that's not too high. Our burgers are simmering. I started out on high and then turned it down to sort of a medium high, and we're just going to cook them till they're brown, and then we're going to turn them over and brown them on the other side. We're going to take these out of the skillet and just put them on a plate. And you know, you can either serve them on a bun like a regular burger or with a sauce and a nice salad. There you go, hippie burgers.